Coming up on UGTV, Standing Committee Meetings of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas. We begin with a meeting of the Public Works and Safety Standing Committee. This will be followed by the Administration and Human Services Standing Committee.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, good evening. I'm going to call our meeting of Public Works and Safety Standing Committee to order. As you can see, we are down a few of our regular standing committee members. So Commissioner Murguia, I really want to thank you for stepping in to sit on the committee with us tonight. Without you, we'd have a real problem. So thank you so much. We want to welcome everyone to our meeting, and public comment is welcome. Anyone wishing to speak on any item on this committee agenda may do so when that item's up for discussion, and you will have up to 3 minutes for your comments. At that time, we would ask you to come forward to the microphone at the podium and make sure you speak directly into that microphone for recording purposes. Could the clerk call the roll, please?
Roll call: Groneman, Murguia,
Here.
Philbrook, Markley,
Here.
Kane, Johnson,
Here.
Bynum.
Here. And the first item tonight is approval of minutes from February 25. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Have a motion and a second for approval of our February 25 meeting minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we have 10 items on our committee agenda tonight. Item 1, authorizing survey of land for pump stations 4 and 5 improvement project. And we have Mr. Jeff Fisher, our Director of Public Works, on the back row. We have James Bain with legal, and it looks like we have Mr. Chris Finger, and then again on the back row we have Kurt Winter. So who wants to get us going here?
I guess I'll start, Commissioners. Good evening. As stated, this is a resolution authorizing a survey for the pump station 4 and 5 improvement projects. Mr. Finger is here to talk us through the project and answer any questions.
Thank you.
Good evening. This project is going to consist of a full rebuild of both these pump stations. From some investigation we've done, we've found that these pump stations actually don't exist on our property or right-of-way. They exist on a combination of our right-of-way and railroad right-of-way for pump station 5 on the right, and for pump station 4 it's on property owned by a subsidiary of a railroad company as well. So we'll be needing to do some land acquisition as we move forward with our upgrades to these pump stations.
Are there questions or comments on this item?
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and a second on this item. Could we have roll call?
Roll call: Murguia,
Aye.
Markley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye. And item 2 is a survey of land for 2019 storm sewer. And gentlemen, I'll just let you keep going.
Thank you. I believe Mr. Finger has a slide about the 2019 storm sewer rehab and repair program.
Yeah, she should be pulling up here in a second. Basically, the one site we know of that we're plan on working on right now is going to be associated with a Safe Routes to Schools program. They're increasing some drainage when they go and put some sidewalk in through redoing some ditch line as well as putting in some curb and gutter. So we're gonna tie into that project and help get the water distributed downstream to a place where it won't flood some people's backyards. There may be another site or two that comes up on the rehab and repair contract where we also need easements, but that's the known site right now.
Are there questions or comments from the commissioners? All right, we've got a motion and a second on this item. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Murgia.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye. Thank you. Item 3, this is an agreement for the Armourdale and Central Industrial District Levy Unit Flood Risk Management Project. And Melissa Sieben is going to lead the team on this, I believe.
I like to make sure that we keep anything with really long titles before you guys, just
Right, I think that's
way. So this is the second of our partnership agreements with the Army Corps of Engineers, the Kaw Valley, and the city of Kansas City, Missouri, in this instance, for the Kansas Levee project, which is the raise the levees along the Kansas River. This project portion, the design portion, is just over $4 million. And then the share that's to be worked out between the parties is about $1.5 million. We already are ready to commit to that with funds available. And this coming Thursday, you'll actually be seeing a resolution put forward to help us claw back those dollars as part of our bonding capacity instead. So we would really like to keep this moving along and encumber those funds from the federal government that total over $365 million for just this portion of the project.
questions or comments, please.
And I do want to thank Misty Brown for summarizing this rather dull reading for us. Thank you.
It is so very important, and I appreciate all of the work because I know it's a heavy lift, just to say the very least. It's been a long, long time in the making, and here we are, ready to go. So I really do appreciate all that. I would take a motion for approval.
Move to approve. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Murgia.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye. Item 4 is an agreement with the cities of Edwardsville and Bonner Springs to provide fire and EMS mutual aid. We have Katie Devlin from legal and Chief Callahan, our fire chief, here.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is a resolution for an agreement to have mutual aid with the city of Bonner Springs and Edwardsville in the case of a natural disaster or catastrophe to provide fire and EMS services. Chief Callahan is here to answer any questions if you have them.
Questions from any commissioner? I have one question, I think. Is it similar to what we just did a month or so ago with the other small communities up around the northwest corner of the county?
In scope and nature, it's similar, but technically it's not a auto aid agreement. So these assets have to be requested. They don't come automatically.
Anything else from anyone?
Move to approve.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Roll call, Murgia.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye, and that carries. Next is an update on the fire scheduling system, so Chief Callahan.
I'm going to eventually turn this over to my project manager, Chief McLaughlin, but and essentially what this is a automated system to keep better track and of payroll and time management. So Sean will push that.
Good evening. Just have a short presentation on a project we've been working on through the fire department. Going to go over some project objectives and success factors, the background of the project, our accomplishments to date, some budget notes, and our next steps. Thank you. So the project objectives of this, we're looking to develop and maintain a centralized schedule that can be updated in real time. The fire department has some issues and some challenges with our current scheduling procedures and processes, so we're looking to improve that. Again, we're looking to reduce and eliminate some manual processes with hiring overtime and our daily roster, the way that's set up and managed. We're looking to simplify some leave requests and shift trades. Currently, those are manual paperwork processes, and we're looking to streamline those. Also looking to eliminate lost paperwork and reduce manual paperwork that gets submitted through payroll. So our success factors for the project are, we're looking to reduce time to fill vacancies on our shift schedule each day. We're looking at eliminating manual approval processes for any changes to the schedule, and we're looking to reduce payroll processing time by automating that process as we send it over to the payroll department. So the UG initiated the Kronos Telestaff implementation project in September of 2018. At that time, the team completed the following key tasks. We identified our stakeholders and our project team. We purchased the Kronos software solution and the implementation services, and that included 750 Telestaff licenses and 410 bidding module licenses. So those are two separate modules that we're actually working with. We also purchased 12 months of software as a service, and that means that the company Kronos is actually going to host the software for us, and we will access it through the internet. We also agreed to a Kronos statement of work for fire implementation. We looked at the project approach, our roles and responsibilities through the UG, and the Kronos team's participation in services that they're going to provide to us. And then we also established a preliminary timeline. So to date, we've participated in process review sessions with Kronos. Those were held in January of this year, and they're also ongoing. We also configured the application to meet the KCK Fire Department's requirements. We're participating in system testing right now currently. That's an ongoing process. We look to probably continue that for about the next 30 days. We're scheduling train the trainer sessions with Kronos for the next week, the week of April 29th. We're also building a training plan for Telestaff to roll out to the end users of the fire department. We're reviewing the licensing count. We currently have licenses for about 440 users, approximately, out of the 750 potential licenses that we have purchased. We're also participating in a series of comprehensive UG meetings to integrate Telestaff and Kayanta, which is the payroll system that we use. So we're looking to import accrual data from Kayanta into our system, and then also export our timekeeping records out of our system into Kayanta. So looking to streamline those two things. We've installed an interface between Telestaff and the New World CAD application. That's just importing personnel records into some existing software that we use every day for reporting. And then we've also prepared a letter of understanding for potential overtime process impacts from the Telestaff implementation, and that's in reference to IAFF Local 64. There's some minor procedural overtime issues that we're just working through. Budget, we have allocated $200,000 to the budget for this project. Currently, the services and training for the implementation, $67,275. The annual software as a service and licensing fees are $46,619. And then the interface between New World and Telestaff, $16,205. We're also right now assessing the integration between Kayanta and Kronos, and then other potential expenses. Our next steps are we're looking at scheduling go live date, hopefully within the next 30 to 45 days, and then update the community when we get that date set. Scheduling the end user training sessions, that's going to be an ongoing process for probably about the next 60 days. And then completing the development of the appropriate interfaces, integrations between Kayanta and Telestaff for both the go live date and potential later phases in the project. Does anyone have any questions?
Questions, anyone? I have one question. When you say update the UG and KCK community, this is more of really an internal process.
It is.
Correct?
Updating the community would just be more of an informational like we're doing tonight.
I mean, I'm really happy to see that you've done this. It's a huge step forward. Commissioner Johnson.
I was just shaking my head in agreement to this. I think that this is great. it solves a lot of the question marks we've had in the past, and I think this automated system will help to alleviate some of the, question marks and make it a whole lot easier. So again, kudos to you all, and what job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. And this is an information item, so we won't need to vote on this item, but we do really appreciate it. And then just kind of segueing next, because the next item is our progress update on our new fire station at Hutton and Leavenworth Road, and you're welcome to stay because I know you want to hear all about it. And then we have our folks from the architecture firm and John Kelly coming forward. And I will say, while you get situated, that we had a wonderful groundbreaking event. I was very happy to be there, and we're just really excited to get.
Yes. Well, good evening, commissioners. We don't have a presentation tonight just because after our last update, there's been not, a little movement, but we were getting bids and such. So I'm going to go ahead and let Kyle kind of talk where we're at today.
Okay.
Good evening. I'm Kyle Morrison with Arc Images. The groundbreaking was held on April 13th, and as those of you who've been out there have noticed, the site has been cleared, and we're working on some of the soils issues that we've brought up before and that we've known about. The specific issue is a small area, we hope a small area, where dirt was dumped at some time in the past, probably to fill in some erosion or a ravine or something like that. We've been working with Kansas City Testing, the geotechnical engineer, Heron Contracting, the fire department, building logistics, Arc Images have all been involved in analyzing some different strategies to address the issue and consider the relative costs and schedule impacts of some of the alternatives. Starting tomorrow morning, Heron will be digging and removing that material so we can determine exactly how far it goes. And it's probably a week or two from now when they'll be finished with that. Once that work is complete, they'll continue with the building pad and then start right into foundations on the project. Subcontract bidding has been completed, and Heron is now issuing subcontracts for the various suppliers and specialty contractors. We had a lot of interest and good bidding, got a lot of bids in every category. Once the subcontracts are in place, then that allows us to move forward with material ordering, shop drawings, scheduling in the various trades and so forth. So things are falling right into line, and we are looking towards a February move-in next year.
And I would just like to state, we gave the February date just due to our winter and the site conditions that we're up against. That's why we're kind of moving from that end of the year to that February. And like I said, over the next week or so, we'll hopefully have a better idea, but we're just, to be safe, we're thinking that February of 20 is going to be the date that we'll be able to have that station open.
I have one question.
Okay.
Are there, on this project, it's a UG project, are there local business, minority business, and women-owned business goals?
Yes, through that process with the CMR process, we go through the same thing through purchasing, and, to say that there's an actual percentage, we try to hit that mark, and we did get some Wyandotte County folks involved and some minority and women business-owned people participation. Not a huge, but there is some.
Good, and I appreciate that. When you give an update as we see the project coming up out of the ground, would you bring us how those shook out, how those totals shook out?
Yes.
Thank you.
You can share that information.
I would add that Heron really did an outstanding job, I think, of both advertising and seeking all three of those categories of bids, as well as just tracking the results. They really did a good
Great,
job.
thank you. I really appreciate that. Other questions or comments? All right, this is an update-only item as well, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for taking the time to be here. And then, John, you get to stay.
He even managed to smile a little bit.
He did. You even smiled a little bit. Okay, thank you so much. We have an update on our new Juvenile Justice Center.
Okay, well, thank you once again. Good evening. We have Scott Mead here with Newkirk Novak. That's going to be giving us an update. Once again, we don't have a presentation for tonight to show you, but I think as we talk about the steps here that he's getting ready to talk about, our next presentation we give to you guys, hopefully with the past one, the fire, and this update, we'll have some more drone videos to show you as the project's starting to really come together with the exterior shell.
Good evening. So for the Juvenile Justice Center, since our last update, we held a topping out ceremony on April 2nd at the project site. So we had a really good participation turnout. It was a really nice day. For the update, on the 3-story portion of the building, we got all the structural steel is complete. We've poured both slab-on decks for the building. Exterior framing is now going. So on the west side, or the courtyard of the building, that is complete and is now going around the building, and will be starting on the front this week. With that, sheathing of the exterior will start May 6th, and that's really where we're at with the multi-story, 3-story portion of the building. On the single-story portion, we are finishing up the masonry in 2 weeks. We had our first round of precast roofing was set last week. In 2 weeks, they'll come back and set the second round. And then from there, we'll start kind of the interior, kind of overhead MEP in those portions. So everything's going really well, and we remain on schedule.
Questions, comments?
I just want to add, I know that sounds like a lot, and you're trying to capture, well, what's that look like without seeing something, but like I said, our next update, we'll be able to walk you through that with a drone video and some pictures to kind of show you how it's looking. As you guys can see, the building is coming up more and more out of the ground, but we'll be able to walk you through it a little bit better with the video.
Sure. So I work directly across
Yes.
the street. I think I say that all the time.
Yeah.
So I do know what it looks like, and I continue to be fascinated by the incredible process of building things. And the topping out ceremony I thought was extraordinary.
Yeah.
And I was really happy that the gentlemen standing up on top of that beam were appropriately tied off. And I would just ask that we bring also those targets on LBE, MBE, WBE, et cetera. And give us an update on that next time you bring us a project update.
Okay. All right.
Anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And commissioners, at this time, I would like you to take your right hand and reach over your left shoulder and give yourself a pat on the back. Because we are on item 8 of 10. So, and this is Friendship Heights Sidewalk Benefit District, and we have Jeff Fisher and Lydiana LeBoy. We appreciate you moving up to the front table. I think there are folks here tonight that may want to speak on this item. Even though it's an information-only item, could I see hands in the audience, please? Do I see 2? Okay, thank you. I just needed to get a visual on how many might want to speak, so thank you. And we will call on you here shortly. Okay, Mr. Fisher, why don't we hand this off to you?
Okay, thank you very much. Due to the confusion and delays of the past and last summer's discussion, we just simply wanted to report back to you tonight to provide progress. Lydiana's got a number of examples that she's working with Commissioner and neighborhood groups, and we'll continue to work through those. We'll have some public engagement to follow this, but I'll let Lydiana highlight that and then take any questions you may have.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Lydiana Lavoy, the city traffic engineer and also project manager for the proposed franchise Heights Benefit District. Sorry. So as you say, this is an update on the project. How do I manage this? I forgot. Okay. The first slide is just an outline on the history of the project. I'm not going to go through all the details of that, but kind of this is summary to bring everybody to context on where we are today. The second slide just present the area which was outlined on the petition form. The area in yellow is the area within the boundaries of the Friendship Heights neighborhood. The slides represents the households that were included in the first petition. You can see there's a majority of the neighbors in the Friendship High neighborhood were included on it. And now, since we met with you last time, we met in October with the commissioner and the RDA leadership and some representative from the neighborhood and discussed the challenges of the project. And we also went in the next month, we went and walked the area and identified the challenges too, and defined that we were go ahead and reevaluate the engineering of this and also define some options to try to minimize the costs related to the project. And for the last few months, we've been working on those options. That's what we're presenting today. We selected 9 terraces as a representative case study. This is about a quarter mile of area, a roadway between 47th Street and Locust Road. This is a picture of the existing conditions. As you see, people use the park parallel to the road, and also their fences. They have large and small vehicles. Some driveways have to be improved, or they're in fair conditions, and maybe the payment also might need some consideration. During the process, those are the items that we consider on the project. We either consider maintain the 2 lane of traffic or just one way, maintaining parking on the street or no parking on the street, building a curb and gutter or leaving the open dash, do all the construction within the public right of way or acquiring land. We had 8 options that we evaluated. In general, this first option represents a sidewalk with a curb and gutter, maintaining the 2 options and no parking on the street. This represents the cost related to this is approximately $1,500 per household per year. And this option is similar option. However, this one will maintain the open drainage and sidewalk constructed on the side of the sides of the open drainage. With this might require a little land acquisition, but we maintaining the 2 lanes of traffic, but the parking will be affected.
Ms. Lavoy, just a quick question on any slide, that one. So when you say total cost for this option, $584,000, you mean just the 9th Street portion that you're studying?
Yes, just the study. Sidewalks on one side of the road.
Wanted to make sure.
Between that segment, and we have several segments like this in the area.
Thank you.
This option would be okay. What is we repurpose the existing pavement to only have one-way street, maintain parking, and then build the sidewalk with curb and gutter. This option cost would be $1,500 per year per household. This other option is similar, one-way street with parking on the street but open ditch, and the cost associated to that would be $1,200 per year per household. And then we also look at, okay, what other things can we do to reduce the cost? And then we say, okay, let's just build inside the existing pavement. So we not touch the drainage, we simply just repurpose the road to build the sidewalk. Then we'll have to, reconfigure to be only one way. And this would be $1,100 per year per household. That's the cost. Yeah, this is our staff recommendation, but because it provides the best value for the options, among the options, but we will discuss that a little further as well. And then this option was like, okay, what is we don't touch anything? We leave the dish as it is, they pay me as it is, and then we build the sidewalk entirely within the private property, meaning that we will acquire a sidewalk easement and build a sidewalk there. That option came out about $1,100 per year per household. While this doesn't include drainage or construction on curb and gutter, this include like reconstruction of decks or removing of gardenings or fences and things like that was included in that cost. And this final option is just say, well, okay, no, we don't do anything, but then we dedicate a path for pedestrian with a protected control device. This option is more economical, it's only $700 per year per household, but it's a high maintenance for the city, as this will might need to be constantly replaced. There's another option. We only included one full replacement, but we had no idea how many times we would have to replace it. And then just for creating some visual, these are some pictures that show like how to, a sidewalk next to the open drainage. That's how it could look like on this, in anywhere like this. These are pictures of current projects that we recently completed where we had open ditch, or we have curb and gutter constructed and sidewalk with green space. And once again, the cost estimate included like sharing the cost associated with that among all the residents. The numbers that we're showing is 100% of the cost and included the drainage improvement, the sidewalk, any resurfacing associated with it, but it excludes the land costs or any drainage improvement that we need to do outside of the area or utility relocation. This table shows the summary of all the options that we evaluated. We highlighted option number 5, as we believe this is, from the engineering point of view, this is the one that provides the most best value solution. And then this is a comparison on the end of the table of the cost per year per household. And this is divided the total cost by 15 years. As part of this process, we discussed this, presented this both to the commissioner and we also to the leadership, neighborhood leaders. The feedback that we obtained from there was like they are still interested. There's a common concern about the lack of sidewalk. They support a benefit district. But they can see that there's a significant increase in property costs. They are interested to know what will the real cost for them will be, whether it will be a cost share between the city and the residents, and what is all included on that cost. In this cost, we included in drainage improvement and resurfacing costs. They want to know, will that be included or we just only pay for the sidewalks? So the next steps, we continue to work with them, and now with the public involvement, the main important items to define is whether there will be a cost share between the city and the residents, and then is the residents review the solutions and they want to continue with the benefit district, then RDA as the organization representing this neighborhood will have to re-engage the neighborhood to adopt a proposed formal petition for a benefit district. With that, I open for questions.
Questions, comments? Go ahead, Commissioner Murguia.
So this is an excellent presentation. Thank you very much. It's very clear. I think most people will be able to understand what the options are, the visual, as well as the numbers, the estimates that are there. So great job on that. I really appreciate you guys running with this. I do have a question. On your last slide, you say the cost will be determined based on how the commission defines a benefit district in the future. And I know, Jeff, that you and I have talked about that there needs to be some more clarity by the commission about how they want to define benefit districts. So when will that come in front of the commission to discuss that?
We have that plugged into the June standing committee agenda. So we'll be working with legal in the meantime to benchmark our current policy against others and identify areas of improvement and then bring that to you in June.
Will it be this standing committee?
Yes.
Commissioner Murguia, can I interject right there? So that discussion will start at this standing committee, and the item that we will talk about is a policy change, basically. No.
So let me see if I've got this right to make sure we're all communicating on the same page. I might be wrong. Currently, it's not very clear in our policy how the percentage will be divided up. A lot of people have coined it as 50-50. The residents pay 50% and the government pays 50%. according to our staff, that's not very clear.
Correct.
Benefit districts in the past have been different.
Right.
So this policy needs to be more clear
Okay.
about what we're gonna do countywide.
Okay, and I appreciate that. Somewhere in this upcoming discussion, I was left with the notion that certain projects qualify as benefit district. I guess they're all benefit district, but some of them totally self-pay. And the UG's not putting funds in.
No.
Okay, in my mind, I'm thinking of the West Height Roundabouts project, but that's years ago. That's like a decade ago.
Maybe Misty has some
Thank you.
knowledge of that.
That's where I was getting confused. Go ahead.
Statutorily, benefit districts can be created where people in the benefits district do pay 100% of it, but they don't have to. I believe the number statutorily is, in a benefit district, the city could only pay, I believe, up to 95% of the project. In the past, some have paid higher percentages than other, but most recently, I think when Commissioner Murguia said the phrase 50-50, when there was funds budgeted, that was what a lot of the sidewalk ones were going with. But
Okay.
there's a huge
Variable.
variety
That's helpful.
proposed.
So to compare,
I believe some
Again,
consistency in the policy.
yeah, this is the problem, is that I think there should be a clear definition of a benefit district and then how it breaks down, because a benefit district is a very broad term. The piece, we used a benefit district for curb and sidewalk improvement projects. But a benefit district, the definition of it, it could be much larger than that. So that's where I think all of the miscommunication is happening. The roundabouts, in my mind, that's not the benefit district I'm familiar with. I'm talking about benefit districts where we had money budgeted a decade ago when I first became a commissioner, and they really were, because they were really trying to press communities to improve the curb and sidewalk within the neighborhoods for safety issues, not so much as a roundabout or speed control district.
That helps. Thank you. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt if you have more.
Yeah, just so my questions were, so it'll be at the June standing committee meeting for them to discuss about specifically what you want to get to is, in this type of benefit district, how much is the government's portion versus how much is the resident's portion, right? Yep. And then you'll be able to come back with more concrete numbers, no pun intended there, but more concrete numbers in regard to how much the residents will have to pay versus the government, correct?
Right.
So we could decide that the government moving forward will pay 75% and the owners will pay 25%, or we could say it's 50-50 or the other way around, correct?
Right.
Correct.
Okay, just because I'm also giving people examples that might be watching, so they completely understand. At the end of that, when will this specific project, just because of how long it has gone on and all the delays that it has seen, when will this specific project be able to be brought forward back to the commission to make a decision on?
Well, there's still some public engagement we're gonna work with this neighborhood. We need to prioritize what their desires are. Is it walkability first? Is it drainage second? Parking, on-street parking? And we need to define those things so we can then design some concepts. Then we can further, refine those cost estimates and then see what kind of support there is. I think one of the things that may have to happen is an update to the petition. Mm-hmm. It's been so long. Mm-hmm. And there was only 49%, if I remember correctly. And the policy is there's gonna be some discussion in the policy around the petition and what that needs to look like. So we'll get into those details in June. But so public engagement, we're probably looking at a few months to 4 or 5 months before we can have anything really solid to bring back to the standing committee. So I'd say fall.
Before you have any sort of more specific recommendations.
Correct.
And the neighborhood people that you've been working with, they're aware of the length of time?
We haven't defined a specific time. They're just happy that we are continue to get them involved and getting that information. It is very important, I think, that we define the terms of that benefit district and what is involved, because that makes us change of how much will be on their end, and to move forward with a benefit district.
And so is your department going to bring forward recommendations of language for a new policy?
In June, we will have some suggestions for
Options?
consideration in the policy. Are you talking about the policy or the project?
Policy.
Yes, we'll have some recommendations.
That'll be in June, right?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Question here, so if we have a 3 to 4 to 5 month timeline of working with the neighborhood to bring a recommendation for this specific neighborhood back, then I'm guessing we have a 2020 build season. So we have budget starting next month, basically, as far as presentations. So are you gonna then put a placeholder in CMIP for this?
I don't, yeah.
Can I comment about that, Jeff? In the past, so I don't mean to interrupt you, and then you can say whatever you want. So this is how this neighborhood got lost in the shuffle, is that the way the policy was interpreted in the past is there was a list. And when the commission allocated funds to a benefit district of this sort, the person or the group, not the person, but the group or the neighborhood, at the top of the list, it just went in order. Whoever signed up and met the criteria was first in line, and then the next one, and then the next one. Well, that's what happened, is that when this project came up, there wasn't funding for a benefit district at the time, and then the project got dropped altogether. So the way it's worked in the past, I don't know what staff's recommendation will be, is that it's been those who have organized the community, done the legwork for the petition, organized the meetings, done all the required statutory requirements, and then they're allowed to be put on the list. And then that's when you get in line.
Okay, sounds like they'll be sitting at number 1.
I'm hoping, but if it depends on whatever the policy recommendation is.
Melissa Sieben.
What I would suggest, commissioners, is when we come back in June, we'll address the very concerns that are raised here, that were raised here in the last year, 2 years, as we've gone through this particular benefit district. I think that process would be part of any policy we bring back, and kind of understanding the pros and cons of what options or opportunities we have. So definitely want to come back with a process on what that looks like and what meets, a certain criteria or threshold for UG involvement and things of that nature. Because I know from community to community, you see different variations in when the government will participate and at what level. So I think you're going to get some history on what others are doing, and that'll help maybe better inform how we want to interact in this space.
Okay, thank you. And Commissioner Johnson or Merkley, any comment or question on this? Okay, are you ready for a couple of community comments? Okay, so we do have I saw several hands for comments from the community, and please come forward and speak directly into the microphone and give us your name and city for the recording. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Erin Strika, Kansas City, Kansas. I'm with Rosedale Development Association, and I'm kind of changing what I intended to say on the fly here. First of all, thank you all so much for bringing this up for discussion, and thank you so much, Lydiana, for your presentation. I'm really excited to hear that an overall benefit district policy is being considered. I want to give just a little bit of context about this neighborhood specifically, and then talk a little bit about that benefit district policy overall. So Lydiana used the example of 9th Street Terrace. 9th Street Terrace has 30 properties on it, And the average property tax in 2018 for one of those properties was $2,002. Their range was from $1,324 to $3,404. So for the full sidewalk curb gutter on one side of 9th Street Terrace, that's an average of a 78% increase in property taxes, with a range from 46% to 118%, which is a lot. Now, that's if the whole cost is borne by the residents. I guess what I want to say is this neighborhood has worked really hard and been really patient. A lot of people did a whole lot of walking around with petitions 10 years ago, and they have continued to do it now. And my phone has not stopped going off for an hour with people telling me, I'm running late from work, I'm trying to get here. This is a neighborhood that is engaged and active and willing to invest in their neighborhood. Commissioner McGee, you mentioned a 50-50 cost share, 75-25 cost share. When the UG does that, when you meet neighbors who are willing to organize and invest in their neighborhood and meet that in such a way that makes it affordable, that is huge for our neighborhoods. And not just this neighborhood, but all the neighborhoods. So I would really encourage you, as you're taking up this policy, to just get really, really resourceful and creative about how you can partner with these neighborhoods to get these things done. I think this neighborhood in particular deserves all of your ingenuity, and Wyandotte County does as a whole, to figure out a good way to do that. My second request, it's helpful for me to know an overall policy is considered. And am I understanding that this will be under that policy? This isn't being done separately. We're waiting to adopt a policy and then.
I guess staff hasn't been thinking that we're waiting on a policy change to move forward on this.
So this could be standalone.
Okay.
I think there's special circumstances here.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I want you to come and participate with us as we do have that policy conversation in June.
Okay. Then I guess I'd just like to say there's been an open loop here for 10 years, and I would really appreciate everything you can do to let the neighborhood go and make a decision on this with actual numbers, knowing the UG's contribution, knowing what they're taking on. It was new to me that RDA is taking on approval of this petition. I'd love to learn more about that. But I think it would be great to let the neighborhood make a decision. I think they have earned that, so thanks.
Thank you very much, and I would just say maybe that should have been made as a request, but I think certainly if you would take that on, as you have already taken on quite a bit of leadership with it, it would certainly be appreciated.
Yeah, RDA is happy to do whatever it's going to take. Someone will have to teach me what the legal process is, but
thank you very much.
Happy to do that.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Speak right into the microphone and give us your name and city, please.
Hi, I'm Heather Brazel, and I'm from Kansas City, Kansas. I live in the Friendship Heights neighborhood. And first, I want to thank everyone here for taking the time to listen and for bringing this back up. I was part of the original walkers many moons ago, and I'm really glad to hear see the work that Public Works has put into this. I also want to thank you for the work you've already done in our neighborhood with the safe routes for schools. I think that particular route that you did, even though it's small in size, has addressed the #1 safety issue for children walking to school in our neighborhood. My husband drives that route every day to school, and he sees children as young as kindergartners walking up a very steep, curvy road where cars are driving fast, not paying attention to much going on. And I don't think it's fully, I don't think the safety's up to the #1 par of keeping those kids safe, but it's getting there. And we just hope that can extend to the rest of the neighborhood. I live at 9th and Locust, and we have a pretty steep ditch right by our house. And I see kids, maybe not on a weekly basis, but definitely on a monthly basis, having to jump into that ditch to get out of the car's ways. And it's probably, 10, 12 feet ditch right there. And that's not fun. And my kids don't walk these streets every day. And but I feel for those kids that, especially the little ones that are kindergartners and first graders walking by themselves to school. I don't think that that's what we want to provide the future of our county. So that's why I got involved, was mainly for the safe sidewalks, not only for the kids, but our neighborhood is coming around. We're having a lot more families, a lot more dog walkers. Thankfully, maybe a few less fast cars. When I first got involved, people were treating Locust like it was a racetrack, and that seems to have slowed down a little bit. But we have a lot more people walking, which is great, and I'd like to see that continue. I think secondary, which hasn't been a concern of mine so much, but I have heard it from other people in the neighborhood, is the stormwater. I think that when our neighborhood, and I might be speaking incorrectly here, but when our neighborhood was put together, it was basically using nature to do a lot of the work of getting the water out of our neighborhood into Turkey Creek. And it had probably been very effective for many years until people didn't know that they were supposed to keep their ditches open. And now most of those ditches have been full and are parking spots. So there isn't room for the water to go except into people's basements. And also our roads are incredibly damaged because of the way the water is getting routed. We have in that ditch, we laugh because we could kayak down the ditch after a good storm in our neighborhood, or in our house, which we don't mind because we back up into the woods and we've left space for that. But when you're further up, you don't have space. It becomes your basement space that goes to. So I think that's another issue. Again, not one of my top considerations, which is why I think the point of gathering the information from the neighborhood to a deeper level is really important, because safety is number one, I think, hands down. But stormwater and parking, a lot of families really depend on that parking, are also things that we need to consider. Some of the challenges or constraints of our neighborhood we're a working class neighborhood, and we don't have people that I don't think can afford. I was surprised that the average was $22,000, because we have some rental houses in the neighborhood, and most of ours are $1,200 to $1,400 a year for property tax. So many of those examples would double our property tax for sidewalks and storm sewers, which most neighborhoods already have when you buy a home there. So I would hope that in the process that we can really work together to try to figure out a way to make it an affordable improvement to our neighborhood. We have a really neat neighborhood. It feels rural. It's friendly. We don't want to lose that rural feel. We don't need to go fancy. we just like safe, and maybe to protect our houses a little bit more. And so we'd ask that when we're going through this process, yes, the benefit district is important, but if the benefit district continues as how currently it's being proposed, where it's 100% on the residents, this will not happen. It will not happen probably at 50%. Our neighborhood cannot afford it. So I would hope that we look at leveraging funds. If there's money in the budget in a couple years to resurface the roads, let's not put the resurfacing of the roads in this project or in these numbers, or let's leverage the funds that are already dedicated to do that. Let's look at anything we can in order to make it affordable, because my biggest worry is that after all this time, we're gonna go back to our residents with a number that is going to be shocking to them. And the faith that they have given as part of the process so far is going to get washed away. So I thank you for listening and for bringing this up and pushing for it. And I hope that all you wise minds can come together to really help out our neighborhood.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate the comments. Commissioner Murguia, anything more from you after listening?
No, I think Heather and Aaron summed it up very well. I think that this is a great neighborhood. People work hard. They pay their taxes in this neighborhood. For the most part, they take care of their property. There seems to be a lot of good neighboring going on there. It's the kind of neighborhoods we want in all areas of Wyandotte County. So I think they pretty much summed it up.
Thank you very much. Jeff and Lydiana, I guess as you go to the group to work with them. You'll be, these options that you've shown us placed in front of them and then maybe even further refined, who knows, one way or another. But I did want to ask you, like, for example, Locust that she mentioned with speeding. Did we not just recently adopt a policy in the last 3 or 4 months where these neighborhood streets around all of KCK they are 25? And so those street sign placements are occurring. I don't know if they've started, but I just wondered if, I mean, some of that was to speak to this neighborhood level traffic and speeding.
That's correct. The new neighborhood speed limit is 25. I don't know what this area is posted. If it's already 20, then we're not doing anything. If
Okay,
it's
yeah, and I
30,
don't
then
know
we're
either.
doing 25.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just want to add that I'm absolutely no architect of infrastructure, but I will tell you that in neighborhoods like this, when there is just a ditch and there's no curb, there's no barrier, though it's good to reduce our speed limit, the traffic moves quickly also because there is nothing that warns them to slow down. When you just have a ditch, people are not worried about, hitting a ditch and harming a ditch. So if there's nothing that tells them to slow down, they're gonna move faster. And as you know, we're already 40-some officers short on the PD, we're short on the sheriff's department. So as far as getting out there and doing any sort of traffic controls, that's also been difficult. This neighborhood needs to give the drivers the opportunity to acknowledge that there are pedestrians in this neighborhood and slow down. And right now there is nothing there, and I'm not suggesting there's anything you currently can do to get them to slow down.
Right, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Because several of the options I saw looked to me like a road diet.
Yes.
And that visually automatically slows people down. So yes, I agree with you.
Yes.
So thank you both to the community for showing up to talk with us about it. We do want to keep engaging you. Thank you, Jeff and Lydiana. I sense a resolution is in the air. So tonight it's information only, and we appreciate you helping us with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, so we will move to item 9, and we have Jeff staying and Kurt Winters joining the front table to talk about an update on biosolids.
Hey, I'm so glad you could be here.
Pick someone else.
This one is a simple progress report.
Thank you.
So just to remind us what the scope of this project is, it's a call point treatment plant. The baseline project is rehabbing digesters that are there, and with the whole purpose of reducing long-term costs for landfilling, right? And so that baseline project's around $28 million. There is a potential add to that project, which is processing waste from the west side plant for KCMO. We are engaged with them, exchanging information. It's probably going to be a few months before we come to some conclusion on that. If it is a viable project, we'll move forward. And then there would be a long-term purchase agreement that would have some benefits to the UG, or it wouldn't be worth doing. And then also, if all of that works ideally, we would be able to generate high levels of biogas and create even more revenue potential there. So we continue to work through that. It's going well. We have our owner's rep on board. Misty and her team's been really helpful on this. It's a, if you remember right, design build, and it's progressive design build. So this is a little bit new to UG and staff. So we have our owner's rep. That's been really valuable. We are about, 45 days from having our design build partner on board. So that'll be good. And then there will be a lot of time before we actually start construction. That would be June of 2021. Okay, so it's going to be a little while before we get there. It's about a 2-year project once we start it. We feel good about the way this is progressing. Yep.
Excellent. It is semi-exciting if you like that sort of thing. It's fascinating, I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Anything, if you're into that.
It is $70 million of capital, right? If we go with Casey Motors, it's a big
Oh,
project.
it's good. It's,
Yep.
you know, I like the concept of the partnership and the potential revenue, and it's just fitting all the pieces together, and
Yeah, this is a complex one.
I'm sure that on the job, you're constantly, you know, thinking up fun puns.
That's what I was
The
thinking.
work that you're engaged in.
They've got a lot of those.
Anytime you want to share any of those, you know.
Probably not.
Any commissioner questions or comments? Oh. Okay, well, we do, in all seriousness, we do really appreciate it. It's very important. And it is a critical and potentially a really huge project.
Well, I'm glad to see that the on-threes really impacted you on the project, so you remember that, and there's no questions today, so, yeah, very good, so.
I think we should come up with a fun acronym for the project.
No, stop.
Just saying. That could be really fun. Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. And now, our very last item, and we'll let Jeremy and Angel Obert from the Parks Department come forward and visit with us about a recommendation on a fitness court project in one of our parks. So thank you both for waiting, and here we are.
Good evening, Commissioners. I am here along with Angel Obert, our Recreation Division Manager, to talk to you guys about the Huron Park Fitness Court. A fitness court is, it provides a free opportunity. It's an outdoor play court that gives the participants a full body workout. There's 7 movements in 7 minutes to complete your workout. It's designed for people of all ages, all abilities, and it fits within a 35 by 32 foot space. We'll walk you through more about how it fits into Huron Park here in a little bit. But to tell you a little bit about what this fitness court is, here is a video. Can you play the video, please? Hopefully. Maybe. There we go.
This is why I'm here, to make this happen all across the country. Let's make world-class fitness free for everyone. Hi, I'm Mitch Menadget, founder of the National Fitness Campaign. National Fitness Campaign started in 1979 when we invented the fitness court. Our first 2 fitness courts were at Stanford and San Francisco, and the mayor and Wells Fargo Bank got behind the program, and over a period of 10 years, we opened fitness courts in 4,000 cities across America. We're introducing a new fitness court for the 21st century and launching a new national fitness campaign. The fitness court will allow you to use your own body weight to get a perfect workout. Our 7-movement, 7-minute system allows you to get a full body workout in just 7 minutes. 45 seconds of work at each station, followed by 15 seconds of rest. The system is progressive, so people at all fitness levels can use it. Easy or hard, it'll work for everyone. And it's adaptable as well. You can come to the fitness court and do any workout. If you're training for a Tough Mudder, if you're running a marathon, the fitness court will work for you. You can download our mobile app, learn our routines, and take some of the fitness challenges. This will allow you to compete on the fitness court against your own personal times and against your friends. You can also match the music on your phone to your workouts to make it a lot more fun. We're joining forces with Fit Radio to build fitness courts in 100 cities and schools across America in 2018. Fit Radio provides $10,000 for every $20,000 we raise. Each time we do this, we open a new fitness court. Our first new fitness court has been at Marina Green for more than 3 years now. Tens of thousands of people have used it, and hundreds of people from around the country and around the world have contacted us to get one.
I think it's amazing.
I love the fact that this is here and it's been here.
It's awesome. You can do a ton of different kind of workouts here.
It's a perfect spot right in the marina.
They can come out, enjoy the views, get some fresh air.
National Fitness Campaign is a social enterprise and I take no salary. So all the money we raise goes directly to building fitness courts across America. We envision fitness courts joining basketball courts and tennis courts as essential elements of healthy infrastructure in cities and schools. We're excited to work with you to build fit communities. Join with us and let's make world-class fitness free for everyone.
Back up one slide, please.
Keep going back. There we go.
So also Riverside, Missouri actually joined the campaign. They launched their fitness court October 2018. They currently partner with the Y, so they're offering all sorts of free fitness classes for the community, which has been really beneficial for them. Their fitness court was supported by donations just like ours is as well. Some of their partners are listed there on the side. I know they had the Y, their health department, the sheriff's department, and then also Missouri National Riverside contribute to the project. So
We would like to do ours in Huron Park, and we chose Huron Park because it's easily accessible to thousands of people on a daily basis. It's located near the Riverfront Heritage Trailhead, which is at 4th and Armstrong. This area here in Huron Park where the square is, as you guys can see, it's a pretty flat area, so it would, very minimal dirt work would have to be done, so our construction costs wouldn't be as expensive if we did it somewhere else. The location's right by the street. It provides nice visibility, it's safe, and it'd be a great place to do an afternoon workout.
So just some of the project details. Like I said, we joined the National Fitness Campaign because we did receive a small grant, Parks and Recreation did. So since we've received that grant, we've actually been raising funds for this project. It's 80% of the total funds committed to the project is what we currently have. 60% of those funds that we have is actually private donations, grant funds, sponsors. We've partnered with the Latino Health for All Coalition to raise the funds for this project. They've been a really big supporter on this project. In the past few years, we've done work with them within the Healthy Community Corridor in our parks, installing various fitness equipment alongside the trail, so this is actually a nice upgrade. Other sponsors that we have include United Healthcare, Humana, the Health Department, and then also Wyandotte County Parks Foundation. As of right now, we're looking at an anticipated installation of mid-June, and then we'll do a launch day shortly after that, probably within the week.
Any questions?
Commissioner Merkley.
So tell me a little bit, compare this to what Turner has at the walking park. What, is that similar, different?
So it is different. This is seven movements. So Turner at the walking park is kind of like what I discussed with what Latino Health for All Coalition has done through Jersey Creek and Waterway. It's stationed throughout the trail. This is actually one, like you saw in the video, solid set. This has an app to it, so it's got programs already built into it. This is a lot more body weight. It's all body weight. The padding underneath too is fully accessible, so it's quite a different experience, especially like setup wise.
Commissioner Johnson.
This 80% of the 130,000 that has been committed, does this list of sponsors include everyone that's donated to this? Or I guess what I'm getting to is any of this coming out of the Parks Department budget?
Yeah, very little is coming out of the Park and Recreation budget. So right now we have 80% of the funds committed to that, and I would say 60% of that is all, well, yeah, 60% is private funds, donations, grants. Parks and Rec is funding very little of this project.
And some of the areas where we are funding out of our budget is like the concrete and some of the maintenance work that'll be done in-house, and so that is even, we won't have to pay out that money to build this.
And the Parks, see, the Parks Board, have they been brought in to speed up on this and receive feedback from them?
Yes.
And are they, what kind of feedback that you receive from them?
They're excited for it, just like the inclusive playground I talked about a couple weeks ago. They're very supportive of it, and I think it would be a good asset to our park system.
Okay, very good.
Thank you. Commissioner Murguia, anything? So I have a question. Is there water in Huron Park available right now? If I wanted to drink a water, could I get one in Huron?
There's currently not a water fountain. However, there is access to water. We do use it to water. There's a water spigot that we water the former Rose Garden. But no, there's not an actual drinking water fountain.
So how much trouble, if we have water there, how much trouble is it then to get a water fountain?
I think that would be a great asset if we do.
Add on, maybe?
Yeah, that we can add on.
Oh, now see what I've done?
Should not have started this.
I'm sorry. I mean, if you're going to work out, you're gonna want to drink a water.
Pick me.
I may or may not call on you, I don't know. So I just have one more and then I will pick you, I swear.
Thank you.
I like the location for a lot of reasons. It is directly across the street from fire headquarters. They work out and train a lot. So I can see that being a plus.
Right.
And a possible minus of them being there. I mean, I'm sure if the community came, they would vacate. But I like it. I think it could help them. They do a lot of training right around their building. It's just something to think about. But I also like it is visible and it adds on to the other activity that will be going on in that immediate one block area very soon. So I do like the location. Commissioner Murguia, go ahead and talk to us about water fountains.
Okay, thank you. Gosh. This is so great. I finally get a platform for water fountains. Okay, yes, you will be. So I can't really speak to this. I'm very involved in personal fitness. I ride my bike across the state of Iowa at least every other year, my bicycle. I played basketball in college. I'm still ride my bike every day, Monday through Friday in the summer when I drag my daughter to summer camp. I walk on a regular basis, people that know me in my district, and I work out at our local gym at our local rec center. So I'm pretty involved in fitness as you can be at my age, I guess you should say. So one of the things that I'd like to bring up is an organization I used to work for, a not-for-profit, since I'd say over the last 6-7 years, has contributed over $600,000 to the Unified Government Parks Department to do a variety of improvements to the parks within my district. One of them is Ruby Park with a new trail, new basketball court, and as you can see, it's very busy. Vega Field after 5 o'clock during the warm months, just like anywhere in the Midwest, is jam-packed with people. It's so full, sometimes you wonder how all those people are able to move around each other. And Emerson Park, I think most people know, is kind of the center park where all of our festivals happen and all things go on. Ruby Park, even after all those improvements, has a water fountain that used to be a brick or stone cinder, and then at the top it had like a little drink dispenser, and then water came out of it. Now it's a chopped off piece of block. It has water there, it has the base of a fountain, but we have no fountain. At Emerson Park, after we built, which I actually helped build the bathroom at Vega Field, all we asked for is that a water fountain be put on the side of the building because there's no water at Vega Field either. And because of the standards, and this is not negative at all, Parks has to have standards for equipment. Because of the standard of the water fountain, we were told that water fountain would be $5,000. So you're not, you think that it wouldn't be a high-ticket item, but when you view one water fountain in one park, $5,000. And then the water fountain in Emerson Park, we do have one, and it was recently replaced, and the bottom of it floods the whole area around the gazebo every single summer. So it really doesn't work anyway, because you can't get to it, because you have to wade through water a couple of feet deep to get to the water to get a drink. So we have 3 very busy and I cannot, I can't speak. I know, I'm sure this is probably an issue across the county. I'm sure, I'm not sure what's going on at Fisher Park in Rosedale. I just know that I walk my community and my neighborhood on a regular basis, and you cannot get a drink of water. And not that most of you want to get in the weeds to this level, but I also have a lab that I walk around the neighborhood. And if you all remember the big controversy around vending machines outside of retail stores, the reason I wanted a vending machine outside of the Walmart in Argentine is so I could get a drink of water and pay for it without having to take my dog home to go into the store to buy one or go home and get a drink. If you have a vending machine on the outside, you can walk up with your dog, you can buy a bottle of water out of a vending machine, and you can get water to drink without having to go home and still walk your dog. So this is great, and you guys are trying to do a lot of different things, but there are so many little tiny incremental things that we can do that can really encourage activity with people that don't work out on a regular basis. You don't have to be a super athlete. You don't have to have played college basketball. You don't have to ride your bike across the state of Iowa, but if you want to just walk your dog around the block or walk your dog in a park, you should be able to get a drink of water. Right. Or you should, especially in an urban neighborhood. So I should have been more clear about all of that when the retail thing was going on, but that was one of the big stumbling blocks. We just have to be a little more friendly. So this is great, and I appreciate the $130,000, and I think it is great, honestly. I would even volunteer to help you raise more money for it. But a bigger priority for me is the parks that we have, they gotta have water in them. I actually use them. I'm not just driving by the park going, isn't that pretty? It's not scenery to me. And, it's not something I drive by and look outside my window. I actually use it. So if you go to your park and you're actually a fitness person, you need to drink water, and it needs to be available. So for me, a higher priority item would be a drinking fountain in all of our parks across the county. And that's a big ticket item. How many parks do we have?
55 parks.
So at what's that times $5,000?
Yeah.
There's water, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So Commissioner Thank you. I do appreciate it. And I agree. I mean, I think access to drinking water is really important in the parks. And that's why I asked, because it's important. This Huron Park is an existing park that we're hoping to do this upgrade for. And I just hope that we can look at drinking fountains, either corrections or installation of in possibly the parks that have zero. I mean, I would definitely be in support of helping to find the funds for adding the drinking fountains or correcting the ones that are malfunctioning. That being said, this is a beautiful existing park that I do love the upgrade that you're bringing. And this item actually does require a motion. This is something that we're hoping to approve and move ahead with. So I would ask for a motion on this item.
Approve?
So we do have a motion and second on this item. Roll call, please, on the motion.
Roll call. Murguia.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye. All right, thank you very much.
You guys.
And thank you all, commissioners, for being here tonight. We made it through all 10 items, and that does conclude the meeting, and go and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you all to staff.
Thank you for watching. Remember, you can view meeting agendas and minutes online at wicokck.org. Or, to confirm meeting dates and times, you can also call the Unified Government Clerk's Office at 913-573-5260.